Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Welcome to the video for the week here. We're going to be doing a whole bunch of removing paint and material off of a surface. And I wanted to take just a minute, talk about a few of the different tools that I'm using to accomplish the task. I mean, nobody likes to have to strip paint off, and I have other videos that show how to do it chemically with like aircraft stripper, and that stuff's really nasty to use. We're working on the roof of the 35, so everything goes down, and I don't want paint stripper to get all over every piece of this car because the roof's really about the only thing that has to be stripped down to bare metal. So let's look at these tools. Let's just start from left to right here. A lot of wire wheels. I have one on an air drill. I also use this one on a cordless drill. Works good for cleaning things up. I like to use it just to get minor surface rust off, and use it to clean off welds and knock the loose stuff off. It's not really super stiff wire, so it's not aggressive enough to really get in and deep clean your metal. This wire wheel here, I use this a lot on welding. This one actually needs to be replaced. On these cut brushes and the radial brushes that are twisted wire like this, when they're on a electric grinder, they're spinning super fast, so those wires become projectiles. This is something, definitely safety glasses, face shield, and a pair of gloves will keep you from getting hurt while you're using this. And then I have a small angle grinder here. It's got a real tight twisted wire brush on it. This one works good removing stuff down in a tight corner. None of these are ideal for taking paint off, okay? They work good to clean up rust scale, pitting, and just get the stuff loosened up so you can use chemicals to neutralize the rust. Let me move over. I've got a 4.5-inch angle grinder. Definitely not something to use to strip paint. This only is good for cleaning up welds and, grinding on heavy stuff. I don't even like to grind welds on this on the outside of a body panel because it generates so much heat, and it's just tough to control and keep it right focused on that weld bead. So we need to use something a little bit smaller for that. I just had it up here because it's kind of where all of my tools have landed. So along that lines with another electric tool, I did show and talk about this a little bit. It's this little, like, I don't know what to call it other than like a supercharged Scotch-Brite disc. I think 3M's trade name is Clean and Strip for these discs, and you can buy them that'll fit on a angle grinder, or like I said, in the video, you can buy this at Walmart for about $6 or $7, and it started out quite a bit bigger than this, but using it on that roof yesterday, we wore it down quite a bit. So yeah, you just works great, gets in tight areas, doesn't put deep scratches in, and it will clean stuff up to bare metal and make it nice and shiny for you. So this is a tool that I definitely use several of these on every project. I will buy some for the 3.5-inch angle grinder setup, but they're quite a bit more expensive to buy than just these from Walmart, and these seem to work great. So a couple of different size grinders here. They work for a variety of uses. They're going to rough the metal up, get it ready to apply body filler, smooth out welds, those types of operations. You can strip something to bare metal with this, but like, look at the size of how small they are, and they leave really deep scratches, mess up your surface, so it's hard to get that out. Any scratches you put in the metal, you got to take them out with primer surfacer. So we want to minimize how many scratches we're putting in while we're cleaning that surface. So you'll see on this roof out there, this is my go-to tool, and this is commonly referred to as a 8-inch DA. It is a geared oscillating sander. It has an 8-inch pad, so they call it an 8-inch DA or Bondo Hog. This is a CP777. I don't think they even make these anymore, but there are others out there. If I was going to buy a tool to strip paint with, I would probably buy an electric version of this just so it didn't run the air compressor constantly. Electric has more torque, and when you're stripping paint, that's definitely a good thing. It's not a real heavy tool where the electric one is a little bit heavier. This tool works good to strip material down. I do have like 40 grit on it right now, so it does put scratches in the metal. Yes, it does. But we can go back over that with 80 grit on this tool or 80 grit on just a DA. So this is a random orbit sander. So this pad, you can see it's spinning around, and it'll also spin just around there. A DA actually can be switched from that action, that random orbit action, to grinder action. And they make palm sanders. This tool comes in a variety of different configurations, but this is a pretty aggressive one. Okay, it's got a 3/8 stroke to the cut, so it removes material really quickly. It's like a lot of times at the paint store they'll refer to these as bodyman DAs because they're very aggressive and they are taking out lots of material for you. I have 80 grit on this to help take out some of these coarse 40 grit scratches on our roof and just to get things prepped up. Yeah, so those are the tools. Just a little brief bit about them. I mean, we're going to go out and you're going to see me use a couple of them on this roof to get it stripped down so that we can get it cleaned up, redo a little body filler work, and then get this thing primed. All right, so I've got my roof mostly stripped down to bare metal, but I want to use some type of an etching product on here just to kind of demonstrate what a quick product, how it looks going on and when you're done with it. So what I've chosen is this DuPont, or it'd be Exalta now, 244S, and it's basically a metal etch that neutralizes as it dries. It's alcohol based. Do recommend wearing gloves when you put it on there. But I'm going to take and wipe a section out here in front of the camera with some rust on it. Let you guys kind of look. It's pretty pitted. I've gotten a lot of it out, but I mean, there's a lot of pitting or freckling, whatever you want to call it there. So let's wipe some of this stuff on and see how we end up. So directions say apply it liberally. We could put it in a spray bottle and do that, but I'm just going to wipe it with the old towel here. We want to keep it wet for a little bit. That bug didn't like it. Of course, it didn't kill him though. So we're going to wipe over this weld seam good right up around the GoPro. I'm going to come on down the front here. I've heard of using rust stain remover for concrete to get rid of this rust. Just want it to stop. That's the main thing we're after here. So, just keep flipping that towel. Soak it on there nice and wet. Wipe it down. It says once the metal has a bluing look to it, that you know that the stuff has worked. All right, so you can see after about an hour of dry time, stuff definitely looks different. It looks kind of rusty to me. They call this flash rust. So basically, the directions on the material say that you can prime it with the appropriate primer at this point. I do not feel comfortable leaving that rust residue on here, so I'm going to end up sanding this back off, and I'm going to use a little Scotch-Brite kind of a wheel on a drill, I guess, maybe a scouring pad type material. It's an extra heavy duty Scotch-Brite. You can buy them through Eastwood or a bunch of different places. I typically just go ahead and buy them at Walmart. They're about $6 a piece. They fit on a rotary or a drill, so they're pretty easy to use. And I'm going to use it to clean off the residual stuff right in here beside these grooves where that rust is. You can see here I've already used it, and it just really cleans the surface up. Leaves about equivalent of an 80 grit scratch. So that's where we're headed with this whole thing, is to get it finished out. No deeper scratches than 80, so that then we can go back and put our epoxy on. We could go to a 180 scratch and still have good adhesion with the epoxy. I do not like to go any finer than that though, in fear of stuff peeling off the bare metal. Guys, it is a new day out here, and I have, as you can see, got most all of the filler work done on the roof of this. I'm down to the point now of refining scratches, so this is all just rough sanded with some 40 grit. I've left enough meat here that I can go back with a block with 80 and then 180 to finish out all of my filler, and I've got to do this all the way around the whole roof. And what I'll do is I'll break it into sections. I'll do this side, get rid of all of the scratches, pinholes and everything. Then I'll come back to the back and do the same sanding processes. Back here I do have a little bit of that polyester primer still up underneath or on top of the urethane. I've got to strip this top half of this at least down to bare metal. I've been going through and I neutralized this rust with acid, but I've been going back through and hitting it with that bristle disc more just to try to completely clean it up as clean as I can. I'm gonna have this thing primed, I hope, within the next 2 hours. I realized downloading this, I skipped a ton of stuff in my how-to kind of perspective here. The video really started out just about stripping paint, and it has evolved into stripping paint, wiping body filler, and spraying primer. It's going to be like 3 days and 30 minutes, I think is what it's going to be. So I have this Bondo glass, short stranded reinforced fiberglass. This is a really strong kind of a filler, something I would use over the top of welds, which on this 35 roof, there's a lot of welds there, so we mix it like traditional body filler, make sure your surface is clean, wipe it on there. It is really hard to sand compared to body filler. And there are a ton of body fillers out there, but this Evercoat Rage Ultra is my favorite right now. They're always coming up with new stuff. This is moderately priced. I say moderately, it is about $60 a gallon, which isn't cheap, but it's not as expensive as the most expensive stuff. I like it. It spreads great, sands great, easy to work with. And then our last product we're going to be using is this PPG DP90 LF. LF is just lead free, 90 is black, and we're using the 401 LF catalyst. This is what they call the etching catalyst. 2 parts to 1 part mixing ratio, and the thing you need to remember about this product is once you mix it, it has to sit for about 15 to 20 minutes to dwell or incubate or sweat in, depending on whose products you're used to. So we've got all that done, everything is mixed. Let's get this stuff in our SATA KLC primer gun, and we'll prime the roof on this car. I mean, it is super nice now. All right, so here's a little overview after 2 soaking wet coats of epoxy on this thing. I believe we got it pretty decent. Certainly not perfect, right? So much better than the peeling stuff that we had going on before though. So, yeah, 3 days. Gonna try to keep the video under 30 minutes. It's a lot of stuff going on here. It is getting humid and hot, so I'm gonna sit and edit this and think about what's next. So at any rate, guys, if you like my content, subscribe to the channel, give it a like, hit that notification bell so you know when we're putting new content out, and we'll catch you on the next video.